Hello, everyone, and welcome to All About Brussels Sprouts. I'm excited to show you and demonstrate a couple different recipes that's excellent to introduce to your holiday spread, and then also talk a little bit about the history of Brussels sprouts and the nutrition benefits. So we're going to go ahead and get through a couple slides before we jump into the recipes. But just a summary of what we'll be talking about during the class. So the first recipe I'm going to demonstrate is our West African Brussels sprouts with yellow curry. I have introduced that to my Thanksgiving spread over the past 3 years, and it's an excellent flavorful recipe that's a little bit unique on the different spices that are used in it, and so it's fantastic and super easy to make. So excited about that. Then we're going to talk about history highlights on Brussels sprouts, nutrition highlights, and then we're going to jump into our second recipe, which is Brussels sprouts and pomegranate salad. Again, it's super easy, quick recipe, excellent to serve during the holidays. And then I'm going to review our upcoming classes and then our locations. So if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to use the live chat function. We have great helper here that will ask your question, and hopefully I can answer it to the best of my ability. So feel free to jump in whenever you like and can answer those questions throughout the presentation. And then a little bit about Basics Market. So my name is Lindsay Brown. I'm a nutrition mentor here at Basics Market and a registered dietitian. Basics Market is a locally owned market with a purpose, nurturing strong, healthy communities through food with simplified selection, fresh ingredients, and healthful recipes. Our 4 locations in the Portland area are small and accessible, focused on just what you need to cook healthful meals at home. So we hope you come and visit us in one of our 4 locations if you live in the Portland area. Oops. So I'm going to jump off of the slides and we're going to jump into our first recipe, which is our West African Brussels sprout recipe with yellow curry. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to heat. I would like to use a Dutch oven, big, larger medium-sized pan for this recipe because the Brussels sprouts do take up quite a bit of room. So a nice deep pot for it is great. So I'm going to heat this on medium heat. I'm going to put a tablespoon of olive oil in the bottom to start with. Then we're going to put a half of a thinly sliced onion. And then I have a tablespoon of chopped garlic. I love onion and garlic when it cooks, especially during the holidays. Good food's cooking when you smell those smells. Okay, so this needs to cook for a couple minutes. Now this recipe, if you are having a larger gathering, this is a great recipe, easy recipe to double because I'm using half of an onion, half of a bell pepper, and then there's a half of a can of diced tomatoes. So this recipe can be easily doubled, and you can use a full onion, a full pepper, a full can of diced tomatoes. So if you're having a larger gathering this year, easy to double. Okay, so that has a nice brown on it. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to add our sliced red bell pepper. So we're going to add that in. And then our seasoning. So I have a teaspoon of curry powder. It smells great when you start adding curry and turmeric. So this is 1/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric. Okay, I'm going to get that going. And the nice thing with this recipe, if you're missing anything tonight while I'm cooking it, We have this recipe on our website as a short recipe video. So if you want it condensed in just a few minutes, you can go to our website and check out our short recipe video for this exact recipe that Chef Sam, our famous Chef Sam, does. Okay, now I'm gonna add, excuse me, the Brussels sprouts. So I got about 18 to 20 clean Brussels sprouts. With Brussels sprouts, just a little tutorial on cleaning, super easy. Wash them, and then you can peel the outer layers because sometimes they have a little bit of browning, and then you just cut the tip off so there's not that fibrous part, and that's how you clean them for this recipe. So I'm gonna add that. Okay, I'm gonna let that cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. And I'm going to go over the history, some fun facts on history and nutrition. Toss this over here. Okay, so history on Brussels sprouts. So it's kind of fun when I was learning about this, but there's a reason why Brussels is capitalized. But Brussels sprouts are said to be first cultivated in Brussels, Belgium. So that gives you the reasoning behind why Brussels is capitalized in the name in the 13th century. So quite a few years ago. Brussels sprouts are part of the Brassica family. It's also known as a cruciferous vegetable or family too, and that includes Brussels sprouts, kale, cabbage, turnips, broccoli. So a great wide variety of different vegetables within the family. And they all kind of have similar tastes of kind of a little bit of a bitter taste, but it sweetens out when cooked. Brussels sprouts, I didn't get a chance to get a stalk, but a stalk of Brussels sprouts. I have a picture on the slide, but that's how they grow. It's really quite interesting. They grow about 2 to 3 feet in height. And then you just harvest them off the stalk. Brussels sprouts love cool growing seasons, long growing seasons. So this is a great time to get seasonal Brussels sprouts. For Brussels sprouts in America, the most are going to be grown in California and New York, but we grow Brussels sprouts right here in Oregon because we have that climate available, that long, cool growing season that Brussels sprouts and a lot of vegetables from the Brassica family love. So we have some local Brussels sprouts in our stores, Oregon grown. So we encourage you to check those out. And Brussels sprouts made it over to America in about the 1800s. The French brought them over to Louisiana. But like I was saying, New York and California right now are the main top growers for your cultivated Brussels sprouts in America. But I'm sure they also still grow them down in Louisiana. They have a little bit hotter climate. But yeah, that's some fun history lessons on Brussels sprouts. And nutrition wise, we're going to just hit on a few things that they're excellent sources of. So vitamin K, many of the brassica or cruciferous vegetables are going to be excellent sources of vitamin K. And vitamin K really helps support bone health through production of osteoblast cells, which actually help build bone, the formation of bone, and then also helps with regulating bone reabsorption. So vitamin K is extremely important, and I think probably underemphasized sometimes when we're talking about bone health. I mean, we hear a lot of times of calcium, you know, get a lot of calcium in to equal strong bones, but vitamin K is equally as important to make sure you get it, you know, get enough into your diet to help with bone formation and that reabsorption of bone. With vitamin K2, it helps with blood clotting. So some people take certain medications that might interfere with. So always talk with your healthcare provider. If you're on those certain medications and you're wanting to increase your intake of cruciferous vegetables, which is great, just let them know so they know what's going on. They also are an excellent source of vitamin C. You know, boosting our immune system has probably been a goal for a lot of us here in the past year and a half. So this is a great way to do it. Vitamin C, a lot of times we think of citrus fruits, but cruciferous vegetables are excellent sources of vitamin C. So they help boost our immune system. They help with iron absorption, helps promote that. And it also helps promote collagen production. So wound healing, or if you have like a cut or a scrape, you know, vitamin C helps in that process, or to heal and create the, you know, the scab, the scar tissue, and those type of things. So it helps in that healing process. For omega-3 fatty acids, this is one of the highest vegetables that have omega-3 fatty acids, which we think of probably fish, you know, fatty fish like salmon. That comes to mind, or flaxseed if you're talking on the plant side. But Brussels sprouts are an excellent source from a vegetable standpoint of omega-3 fatty acids. And this is the ALA form. And the ALA form is found in plants only. It is a little bit, I guess the body has a little bit more difficult of a time transitioning it into that active form that's found in fish, but our bodies can do it. And Brussels sprouts are going to be a good source for omega-3 fatty acids, the ALA form. So omega-3s linked to heart health and brain health. So cognitive, there's lots of research studies that are showing, you know, it supports that brain health, especially in fetal development. So if you're pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant, omega-3 is extremely important in the fetal health, brain development. So really important. And then our last one is it contains a very powerful anti-inflammatory compound called sulforaphane. And this compound has been showing that it is having overall anti-inflammatory effects, which is great. It shows you the power of food can have on, you know, the healing process in the body. But cruciferous vegetables are the only ones that have this special compound that we know of, and directly linked to helping reduce inflammation in the body, which inflammation, chronic inflammation, is tied to a lot of chronic diseases, such as, you know, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, arthritis. So it's really an important compound that we can get through Brussels sprouts and other cruciferous vegetables. Okay, so this has been cooking for about 3 to 4 minutes. We're gonna take the slides down and go back to the overhead camera here and show you. So nice green color of the Brussels sprouts. So we're gonna continue to add more ingredients. We're gonna add our liquids, which consists of 3/4 of a cup of low sodium or no added salt diced tomatoes. So I'm gonna add that. And then I have a cup of just regular water. Okay. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 of a teaspoon of pepper. And I'm just gonna get some cracked pepper in here. Okay. Now So with this liquid, the Brussels sprouts are going to braise in this very flavorful liquid for about 15 to 20 minutes. It really depends on the size of your Brussels sprouts. And the Brussels sprouts that I used are probably a little bit on the small to medium size. So I'm going to probably check it out about 15 minutes to see. And I want them to be fork tender, but with a slight bite to them, because it's like kind of like the al dente of the pasta, but you want a little bit of resistance. Now, some people like them a little bit more done, but sometimes if you overcook Brussels sprouts, they can become a little bit more on the bitter side again. So you kind of have to find that little sweet point of when to stop cooking them. So I'm going to do about 15 minutes, and I'm going to cover it. And the heat is going to be, again, kind of on that medium to low medium heat range for that time. And they should come to a slight simmer. So you can check it after, a few minutes to see if it's slightly bubbling. And that's the heat level that you want to keep. Okay. So I'm going to get a few things out of the way here, and I'm going to move on to our Brussels sprout and pomegranate salad. So if you're looking for something fresh and a raw or uncooked side dish, this is a great one to serve during the fall or the holidays. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, but I went ahead and prepared 2 cups of shaved Brussels sprouts, and you can just do this by cutting strips of Brussels sprouts, and I can demonstrate that with one more. So again, kind of do the cleaning method of taking out the outer leaves and then the stem part, and I cut it in half, and then I can just using a sharp knife, just go down and make thin slices. You can also put it in a food processor if you're wanting to save some time. That also works too, and just pulse it for about 4 or 5 pulses until you don't want it super fine. You still want kind of that, that shred, but that also can work too. Okay, so I have 2 cups of shredded Brussels sprouts. And then I have a half a cup of pomegranate seeds, and I'll show you a method to get these tricky little things out. Sometimes they can be, and this method is on our website as well as a short skill video, and Chef Sam is demonstrating how you can get the pomegranate seeds out without making a huge mess. There's I'll do 2 methods because there is one that I have learned that Chef Sam didn't demonstrate, but it's a little bit more messy. You kind of splatter, but you can take a wooden spoon or something hard and just kind of knock it back and forth. And I don't know if you can see it, but the seeds are falling out. So that's one method you can do. Sometimes it does splatter, on surrounding surfaces, but that can work too. So hitting it with the spoon, you can get some aggression out if that's a method that you want to utilize for that purpose. Another one, I'm going to get a little paring knife real quick, and I'm just going to score down this cutting board. And so you can score down the pomegranate just before you hit the seed pack So you don't want to go all the way in to the seed pack. And then you can gently pull it open. And then you can have a bowl of water that you stick it in. And then gently take out the seeds. And this method keeps your surfaces from splattering. So that's another method. But you can just use the water to slowly extract the seeds. And the nice thing is when you do this method, if you get the pith in there, this white part, if you get it in there, it floats to the top. So it's easy to separate from the seeds, which is very helpful because that does kind of fall out sometimes. So this is a fun activity for kids. If they're wanting to help in the kitchen, give them a quarter of a pomegranate and a little bowl of water and have them help in the kitchen. So there you have the pith and the outer part of the pomegranate, and then just take out the pith that fell into the bowl. And then you have the seeds. And we'll just add those to the salad mix. You could also, if you get the pits out and stuff and you have a strainer, you can just throw them through a strainer too. So you're not fishing for seeds. Okay, so that's a couple ways that you can de-seed a pomegranate. Okay, we added the pomegranate. Now I'm going to add sliced apples. This is a half of an apple. And whatever you enjoy eating apple-wise, just add it to. It's really flexible. Now we're going to make the dressing, and this is probably one of the simplest dressings. It's a half of a lemon juice. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil, and then a tablespoon of honey. Get that down. And we're going to whisk that. Let me grab a whisk real quick. So get that whisked up. You got your tart and your sweetness. A bit of healthy oil. Okay, so super simple to whisk up. And then we're going to drizzle that over. Give it a couple tosses to incorporate the dressing, apples, and pomegranate. Double check and hear it. So if you can see, wait for the steam to move, but it's a nice rolling simmer, which is great, right where I want it. So we continue to cook. And then the last thing we're going to add is 1/4 of a cup of toasted walnuts. You can change these out. So if you have other seeds or nuts that you like, you can even do seeds. So if you like sunflower seeds, or if there's nut allergies, you can add sunflower seeds, and even like hemp seed would work, or hemp hearts would work really great in this salad too. But we got toasted walnuts. We're going to get that in there. So this is a recipe also if you're wanting to have a plant-based meal, great side dish to incorporate for the plant-based eaters out there. This is a dairy-free, gluten-free vegan, well, excuse me, vegetarian. It does have honey. You can switch out the honey with maple syrup. So it has that sweetness component to be added to it. So that's an easy switch if you want a vegan side dish. Okay, I'm going to plate this up. It's a lovely, very colorful salad to have a part of your spread for the holidays, or if you're just wanting to have a salad entree, you can add grilled chicken, grilled salmon would work pair perfectly with the salad as well. So those are some ideas if you want to make this more of an entree salad. If you want to add a certain type of cheese, feta would be excellent to add to it. So a couple ideas there. Okay, we're going to check the Brussels sprouts. They're probably not quite done, but just test them with a knife. See. They still have a little bit further to cook. So at this time, I'll just take a few minutes to answer any questions. If there's been any questions. If not, we can go to our upcoming classes. We have several upcoming classes for November, and then our nutrition class is coming up in December. So on the screen, we have one coming up next Wednesday on the 10th. It's top turkey roasting tips. So great class if you are a first time turkey roaster. It would be a great class to attend. Chef Sam has a lot of experience cooking turkey and can really provide awesome tips to help with creating a beautiful moist bird. So that's something to sign up for if you're needing some assistance or wanting to learn more on how to roast a turkey. Just also in our stores, we are taking turkey orders. So please reach out and call our stores to place your order because they're going to be gobbled up really fast. So reach out and place your order because we've already started receiving. We started a few days ago, and people are signing up. So it's a organic turkey that we actually raise ourselves with Aurora Valley is the brand name. And so it's a great local, if you're wanting to support local, organic, it's a great bird if that's something that you're looking for. So the 17th, we have super plant-based sides. And so this class is highlighting 2 plant-based excellent sides. But Chef Sam is going to go more in depth on different sides as well as a main dish. So again, if you're going to be doing a plant-based spread for the holidays, we have a vegan nut loaf with a mushroom gravy that is amazing. So Chef Sam is going to touch base on that one as well during that class. And then on the 1st of December, we're going to do all about oats. I get a lot of questions about oats and the instant versus quick cooking versus rolled versus there's a lot of oats out there. It can be a confusing topic. So hopefully I can break it down and make it a little bit simpler to understand and from a nutrition standpoint why they're important to consume and demonstrate a few of our recipes utilizing oats.
We have a question about when cutting the Brussels sprouts for the salad, do we cut them lengthwise or widthwise? Does it make a difference?
It really doesn't make a difference. So if you want a tad bit longer shred, you can cut them lengthwise. Or if you want a slightly shorter shred, then you can cut them widthwise. But it doesn't matter. So it's just left up to your preference for the type of cut. Good question. Okay, I'm going to go into our locations. And if you're in the Portland area, if you live here or visit, then we have 4 locations. We're located on Sandy Boulevard. We're also located Hillsdale Capitol Highway. Basics Market or Meat Market is located on Canyon. And then we have a store in the Pearl District on 13th in Lovejoy. So we encourage you to come out and visit. You'll be receiving a coupon on your email. So check your email tomorrow for the coupon if you live in the area, or if you know somebody that does and want to pass it along, that's great too. So those are our locations. I'm going to check the Brussels sprouts. Those should be done, and I'll plate those up. This is slight resistance. There we go. And you want the liquid, it will reduce to about half or so. And if it's, if the Brussels sprouts are close to getting done, you can go ahead and take the top off, and that will help with the evaporation of some of the water too. So that's another tidbit. If the Brussels sprouts are there and the liquid's not quite reduced, then just take the lid off for the last several minutes, and it will help with that process or expedite that process. So this recipe I mentioned at the start, if you're trying to figure out what you can do the day before, this is an excellent recipe to do the day before. Making it the day before helps with the flavor profile, enhancing it. So this is awesome to do. If you do it the day before, because of the reheating process, I do recommend making sure the Brussels sprouts are a little bit less done, because they will cook more when you reheat it. So just note that if you're going to do it the day before, take off a few minutes of the cook time to make up for the additional cook time or the reheat time you will have for it the next day. So like I said, I've introduced this dish to our traditional spread the past 3 years, and it's definitely a family favorite. Even my kids enjoy it. So if you're trying to find a way to introduce Brussels sprouts to your kiddos, this is a good, good recipe, and a little bit different than some of the traditional like bacon roasted, Brussels sprouts and bacon recipes that are quite, I guess, more familiar and stuff. So anyways, that's awesome. And then our Brussels sprout and pomegranate salad.
Another question about the salad. Would pears make a good substitute for apple in that recipe?
Yes, it would. I would just make sure if you prepare it with pears, if you're not going to serve it right away, I would leave the pears and cut the pears until you're ready to serve, because pears will brown and get mushy a lot quicker than apples will. So if it's something that you're wanting to do in advance, then I would say wait to cut the pears until you're ready to serve. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Well, just kind of a recap. This is our West African Brussels sprout recipe, our Brussels sprout and pomegranate salad with a lemon honey vinaigrette. History on Brussels sprouts. They're thought to originated from Brussels, Belgium, around the 13th century. And in America, you can find main growers in New York, California, but we got some growers right here in Oregon, which is great. And from a vitamin mineral standpoint, vitamin K and C, excellent sources of, along with omega-3 fatty acids and the sulforaphane anti-inflammatory compound. So great tasting, but also great for you. And I hope that introduce a couple new Brussels sprout recipes for you to include for the holidays. Thank you.